Froggy Awesome Adventures Volume 1. Let's read few of our favorite Froggy books from Jonathan London. Hey friends, before we begin our exciting read aloud story, please subscribe to our channel by tapping the subscribe button below. Thanks!
And keep reading!
Froggy's Day with Dad by Jonathan London, illustrated by Frank Remkiewicz.
Froggy!
Called his mother.
What?
Cried Froggy.
Rise and shine.
Said his mom.
It's Father's Day.
Hooray!
Cried Froggy. He hopped out of bed and flopped to the kitchen. Flop, flop, flop. He'd been waiting a long time for Father's Day to come. At school, he'd made a special present, and now he was making breakfast for Dad all by himself. He dropped an egg on his foot. Splat!
Oops!
Said Froggy. Froggy! Called his dad.
What?
What's that funny smell?
You'll see!
Said Froggy. Then he served his dad breakfast in bed.
Happy Father's Day!
Said Froggy.
I made it all by my oops. It slipped.
Splat!
Oh, Froggy.
Said his mom. She scooped it up and Froggy's dad took a bite. Thanks, Froggy, he said. The eggshells are nice and crunchy.
I have another surprise for you.
Said Froggy after breakfast.
We're going to play golf for Father's Day. It's your favorite game.
You're too little to play golf, said Dad. But you're just the right size to play miniature golf,
Yippee!
said Froggy.
Let's go!
First you have to get dressed, silly,
Oops!
said Froggy, and he flopped back to his room to get dressed. Flop, flop, flop. Zap, zip, zim, zoop, zup, zat.
I'm ready!
Cried Froggy, and he and his dad leapfrogged all the way to the fun park. Flop, flop, flop.
First,
Cried Froggy.
let's ride the bumper boats.
Okay, said his dad. Then we'll play golf. Froggy sat on his dad's lap and helped steer. Whip, splash, oof! They bumped another boat so hard that Froggy bounced up into the air,
Whee!
turned a somersault, and landed upside down in the boat. Thump!
Let's go to the batting cage.
Cried Froggy. Okay, said his dad. Then we'll play golf. Froggy put on a helmet. Zat! Then he wound up and swung.
Oops!
The bat flew out of his hands and hit his dad in the foot. Thunk! Now can we play golf? Asked his dad.
Golf?
Said Froggy.
Why didn't you say so? Let's go.
So they flopped over to play miniature golf. Flop, flop, flop. At the first hole, Froggy wound up and started to swing. Froggy! Yelled his dad.
What?
You're facing the wrong way!
Oops!
Cried Froggy.
I knew that.
Froggy turned around. Then he wound up and started to swing. Wait, said his dad. Wait, first you have to adjust the ball,
Oh,
said Froggy.
hello, ball.
No, no, his dad laughed. I mean, You stand with your feet apart and place the head of the club behind the ball. Then swing. Froggy shrugged, then wound up and swung. Bam, bing, boink. The ball bounced off 3 windmill blades and landed in the hole. Plop!
Hole in one!
Cried Froggy. Holy cow! Said Froggy's dad. That was beginner's luck.
No way!
Said Froggy.
I'm a pro.
After his dad turned, it took him 9 times to hit the ball in, and Froggy said,
Nice try, Dad.
They flopped to the next hole. Flop, flop, flop.
Now watch me.
Said Froggy, and he wound up and swung. Bam, bing, boing. The ball bounced off 3 towers and hit his dad smack in the head, bonk, and knocked him down.
Oops!
Cried Froggy, looking more red in the face than green. Thanks, Froggy, groaned his dad, and he rubbed a bump on his head, the size of a golf ball. The rest of the game was fun though, especially for Froggy. He dove into a pond beneath a waterfall, flop, flop, splash, and came up with 7 balls. And when they got back home, Froggy gave his dad his special Father's Day gift.
Happy Father's Day, Dad!
His dad tore off the paper. Rip! Wow, a mug, he said.
Yep!
Said Froggy.
I painted the letters all by myself. It says, to the best dad I ever had.
Thanks, Froggy, said his dad. This is the best gift I ever had.
Before we jump into the next tale, give this video a thumbs up and let's subscribe.
Froggy Gets a Doggy by Jonathan London, illustrated by Frank Remkiewicz. It was night. Froggy woke up and looked out the window.
The moon! The moon!
Sang Froggy.
It looks like the tail of a happy doggy.
Froggy knew what he wanted more than anything in the world, a dog.
Froggy!
Called his mother next morning.
What?
Time to get up, dear. We're going to the animal shelter.
Yippee!
Froggy hopped out of bed and got dressed. Zip, zoop, zup, zat, 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 zat. Then flopped to the kitchen. Flop, flop, flop.
I think we'll get a bunny.
Said Mom.
I don't want a bunny.
Cried Froggy.
I want a doggy.
But you can't have a dog, dear. Dogs are too messy.
I'll clean up after it.
Said Froggy, and he ate his bowl of cereal and flies, munch, crunch, munch, and left quite a mess. Pollywogilina started smacking the table with her spoon, singing,
Doggy, doggy,
and Froggy joined in.
doggy, doggy.
Quiet,
Said Mom.
or no pet at all.
At the animal shelter, Froggy went bananas.
Froggy!
Called the mom.
What?
Stay here, stay near, and don't stick your hand in the cage.
Froggy flopped back, flop, flop, flop.
Look at the bunny.
Said Mom.
Isn't she cute?
Doggy, doggy.
Sang Polly, and Froggy joined in.
Doggy, doggy.
Quiet,
Said Mom.
or no pet at all. Now, what about this darling baby gator?
Said Mom.
No.
Said Froggy and Polly.
Or these mice? Mice are nice.
But Froggy ran off to see the dogs, flop, 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 and was about to stick his hand in a cage,
Froggy!
called Mom.
What?
Stay here. Stay near and don't stick your hand in a cage.
But when Mom got to Froggy, the cutest little doggy in the world had stuck her nose out of the cage and was licking Froggy's hand. Slurp, slurp, slurp.
Please, Mom.
Said Froggy.
Just look at her eyes.
Mom looked, and the little doggy looked back, and her sweet chocolate brown eyes melted Mom's heart.
I think I will just name her Doggy.
Said Froggy.
Doggy, doggy.
Sang Polly. When Froggy got home, he couldn't wait to play with Doggy.
First,
Said Mom.
you have to put on her new collar and fill her water bowl and show Doggy her bed.
I know.
Said Froggy. Froggy put on Doggy's collar and filled her water bowl. Gulk, gulk, gulk. Fluffed up her bed. Pluff,
Now
said Froggy.
I'm going out to play with Doggy.
First,
Said Mom.
you have to put on her leash and take her for a walk and teach her to come and sit and wait.
I know.
Said Froggy.
And
Said Mom.
don't forget to take your pooper scooper with you and clean up after her.
So Froggy put on Doggy's leash, snap, and took her for a walk. Sniff, sniff, sniff. And when they got back, he tried to teach her to sit up and beg, roll over, and shake hands. Then along came Frogilina. Hi, Froggy! What a cute little doggy!
And she's smart.
Said Froggy.
Watch her fetch the stick. Fetch!
Said Froggy. But Doggy knocked over the badminton net and the bird bath and sprinted into the house.
Doggy!
Called Froggy. Uff! Said Doggy.
Wait! Come! Fetch the stick!
But when Doggy raced back out, she had Mom's underwear instead.
Oops.
Cried Froggy, looking more red in the face than green.
Sit.
Frogilina laughed and said, Good Doggy! That night, Froggy put Doggy into her bed. But Doggy wanted to sleep with Froggy, and she snored. Snuffle, snuffle, wheeze, all night long. But just before the sun rose, Doggy licked Froggy's face. Slurp! And scratched at the door. Scritch, scritch, scritch. She had to go out. Bad. Mom held out a toy shovel and said,
Don't forget your pooper scooper, Froggy.
Pooper scooper!
Squealed Polly, and everybody laughed, even Doggy. Uff, uff! Readers, now let's dive into our next story and discover the adventures waiting for us. Froggy Goes to Hawaii by Jonathan London, illustrated by Frank Remkiewicz. Froggy! Called his father.
What?
Up and at 'em! Today is the day we're going on vacation!
Yippee!
Cried Froggy, and he sang,
We're going on vacation. We're going to Hawaii. We're going on vacation. We're going to Hawaii.
It's time to pack, yelled his dad. So Froggy hopped out of bed and packed his toy plane. Zoom! His toy boat, vroom! And his ukulele, bling!
Froggy!
Called his mother.
What?
Don't forget your bathing suit, dear.
I know.
cried Froggy, and he grabbed his backpack and flopped out to the taxi. Flop, flop, flop. Are you going to Hawaii in your pajamas? Froggelina laughed.
Oops.
Cried Froggy, and he flopped back to his room to get dressed. Flop, flop, flop. When Froggy came back, Froggelina waved goodbye, and off to the airport they went. Beep, beep, beep. At the airport, they had to wait in a long line. Froggy didn't like waiting in line, so he leapfrogged over his mom, he leapfrogged over his dad, he leapfrogged over Pollywogilina, and fell flat on his face. Oof!
Hee.
Giggled Polly, and Dad said, Froggy, when you get to Hawaii, don't act like a nincompoop. When they finally got to the airplane, they flew and flew and flew, but Froggy couldn't sit still, so he flopped up to the front, flop, 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 and sang to the pilot,
We're going on vacation. We're going to Hawaii.
Froggy!
called his mom.
What?
Please sit down now.
And his dad warned, When you get to Hawaii,
I know.
cried Froggy. But when they got to Hawaii, Froggy went bananas. He raced through a giant bamboo forest and had a ninja fight with a coconut tree.
Hiya!
Whack, whack, whack. Bonk! A coconut hit him on the head and knocked him down. He got so hot in the jungle, he had to dive into a nice cool stream and almost went over a waterfall.
Help!
Mom snatched him just in time. Next day, they climbed a volcano,
Look!
yelled Froggy.
Lava!
He was so excited, he almost fell in,
Oops!
cried Froggy, hanging onto Dad's neck like a monkey. Next day, he did a hula dance in a grass skirt. Hula, hula, hula. And even the myna birds laughed. And the day after that, he surfed riding his dad's shoulders with his hands over Dad's eyes. Wipe out! On their last day in Hawaii, they sailed out on the four winds. Froggy borrowed his dad's binoculars to look for the sea turtles, whales, and dolphins. He got a little seasick, so he looked even greener than usual. When they dropped anchor at a coral reef, Froggy had to be the first one in. He ripped open his backpack and took out his toy plane. Zoom! His toy boat. Vroom! His toy ukulele. Blink!
Oh no!
Cried Froggy.
I forgot my bathing suit.
Oh, Froggy.
Mom sighed. So Froggy had to go snorkeling in his dolphin underwear. He pulled on his flippers. Zoop! Put on his mask and snorkel. Zoop! Sick! And pushed past everybody. Flop! Flop! Splash! He glubbed and blubbed and almost sank, then popped up, holding his dad's binoculars.
Oops!
Spluttered Froggy, looking more red in the face than green. Oh, Froggy, said his dad. What did I tell you? When you get to Hawaii...
Look, Dad! Giant sea turtles!
Froggy tossed Dad his binos and took off after them. Froggy! called his dad.
What?
Wait for me! And he jumped in after him. Flop, flop, splash. By the time the boat picked them up, Dad was too pooped to pop. When we get back home, he groaned. I need a vacation,
Me too.
cried Froggy.
Next time, let's go for 2 weeks.
The end. There's nothing like reading a real book. You can find these books in your local library, online, or in stores. And
Keep reading.